Good morning, students. Today we are going to study the chapter Public Enterprises, which is also an important topic. Public enterprises. As we all know that in every country there are few enterprises which are owned and managed by government. Means government control, government owned, government contribution, government management is a very common thing in every country. So the enterprises which are owned, managed and controlled by government, or we can say which are of government, that is called public enterprise. This is also known as public undertakings or public sector undertakings, and as a layman we can also call it public sector. So the public sector or sector undertakings are those undertakings or those enterprises which are owned, managed and controlled by government. These enterprises are having not only government control, even they have some more objectives to open such industries or enterprises. These are not opened only to mere earning of profit. These are also opened for some society welfare, social welfare, or welfare of the society as a whole. That is the motive of such public enterprises. Now we are going to study the objectives of these enterprises in detail. What are the objectives of these enterprises? First is to develop the economic condition of any country, or we can also say the economic development. For economic development, these types of enterprises are established. So public enterprises were set up to accelerate the economic growth in a planned manner, because all public sector enterprises are working under planned economy. So in a planned manner, where when economic growth, for economic growth any sector is working, that sector is a public sector. So these enterprises have created a sound relationship and sound base for the rapid industrialization. Second is called self-reliance. In order to become a self-reliance, any country establishes public sector undertakings. Third objective is of development of backward areas. Most of the public enterprises or public sector are opened in those areas which are quite backward, or sometimes in remote rural areas these industries are opened. So for the development of backward areas, for the development of those areas which are quite remote rural areas, the public sector enterprises are opened. And balanced development of the different parts of the country is necessary for the society as well as for other strategic reasons. Next is employment generation. In public sector enterprises, a big part of population of any country is working. So unemployment has become a serious problem in every country, especially in our India. So public sector enterprises seek to offer gainful employment to millions. Millions of people are working in public sectors. So in order to protect jobs, several sick units in the private sectors have been nationalized. Next, economic surplus. Economic surplus. That is also one of the objectives behind public sector enterprises. So public enterprise seek to generate and mobilize surplus for reinvestment. These enterprises earn money and mobilize public savings for industrial development. Whatever amount is earned by these public sector undertakings, these public sector enterprises, that is reinvested for the development of public, like development of roads, construction of roads, dams, canals, and other things. These are only developed from the earning of such public enterprises. So these public sector enterprises are using these economic surplus for the benefit of society, for the development of society, for the development of infrastructure of the country, which is used by the society. So here we studied what public sector is all about. Public sectors are also named as public enterprises, public sector undertakings, and public sector or public undertakings also. Objectives, there are many objectives, but the most important objectives are economic development, self-reliance, development of backward regions, employment generation, and economic surplus. Apart from these objectives, there are some more objectives like egalitarian society, consumer welfare, public utilities, defense. Government has to set up public enterprises for the production of defense equipments, because defense equipment we cannot believe on other countries, we cannot believe on private sectors. That must be owned and managed by government for defense equipments, and supply of such equipments cannot be entrusted for private sectors due to the need for utmost secrecy. And last is labor welfare. Public enterprises serve as model employers. They ensure welfare and social security of employees. Many public enterprises have developed townships, schools, colleges, and hospitals for their workers. So here it plays a very big role in the development of our country, our labor, our public or our society. So here this topic ends. In our next lecture we will be discussing about the importance of public sector undertakings. Till then, thank you, goodbye.